It's DSP's Top 10 Worst Gaming Moments of 2010. Number 6. Lost Planet 2's horrendous desert boss fight. Lost Planet 2 had a lot of potential. Being a sequel to one of the most original games that Capcom had made in the past decade, it promised 4-player online cooperative gameplay in a third-person perspective. What you would do is run around certain stages, destroying enemies, enemy troops, but also giant monsters, and then also gigantic boss monsters that led to really interesting and difficult, but still fun cooperative boss battles. And one of the things about the game is that everyone loved the giant bosses. This is what really sold Lost Planet 1. Everyone was looking forward to the new stuff in Lost Planet 2. Well, the funny thing is, pretty much everyone who reviewed this game this year said the game, for the most part, is pretty good, except for one particular stage and one particular boss fight that completely ruins the experience. And of course, we're talking about the desert stage. Now, first of all, this desert stage is long and continuous. You're basically running along a train, and if you die anywhere in this stage, you go back to the beginning, which makes absolutely no freaking sense because it's actually one of the most difficult parts of the game. So you say, okay, finally you've grinded through maybe 2-3 hours of repetitive gameplay because you kept dying, you finally got to the end of the train, then you get to this boss, and you're like, wow, okay, this is going to be the payoff for me suffering for this past hour and a half. Well, boy, have you not even seen the beginning of it. I mean, this boss, the way to defeat it is one of the most difficult, confusing things ever seen in video games. It's a very convoluted process by which one or two of the players needs to basically grab shells, run and load a giant cannon, constantly be running inside this cannon to cool it down by turning on coolant valves and things like that. While on the other hand, one person has to go actually man the turret and aim and fire at this giant boss's weak points. Now, the whole problem with this process is that really it requires 4 players to do it easily. If you don't have 4 players, whoever are your computer-controlled teammates end up like standing around and doing nothing. Some of them will just instantly kill themselves by falling off of this train that you're on. Some of them will stand there with shells in their hands doing absolutely nothing. It's a joke. And so when I tackled this game with John Rambo, we were trying to figure this out, and by the time we figured it out, it was so difficult because one person had to always be on the turret while one person was loading shells, doing the coolant, running around, trying not to fall off and die. It's just one of the most difficult boss battles ever done in a video game, and it's really for all the wrong reasons. It's not because of challenge, it's because the game is bugged and your computer-controlled opponent or computer-controlled teammates don't actually help you. So having a long-ass desert stage where if you die you have to start over repeatedly, then followed by one of the most difficult, unexplained boss fights where you really don't know what you're supposed to be doing, and by the time you figure it out, you get frustrated because of game bugs, really just is a huge detriment to this game. I saw game reviews that said this game would have been like an 8 or a 9 because of this one desert stage. It dragged it down to like a 7. So just think about that. A game that could have been exceptional, completely dragged down by a stage that obviously wasn't tested properly, and Capcom really just screwed the pooch with this one particular problem. Coming up next, all hardcore gamers' worries from E3 are confirmed when things go horribly wrong.